All right. It's good to have you again on Governance Insights, a show where we dive into the governance, things pertaining to how our leaders shape our lives. My name is Tochukwu Raphael. And today on Governance Insights, I have a special guest, Honorable Augustine Ike, the Honorable Member representing Nnewi North in State House of Assembly in Anambra State. He's also the Chairman, House Committee on Youth Development and Sports. We're going to have a good time. We're going to be discussing a lot about certain areas of governance in Anambra State, from infrastructure, security, and the rest of them. So it's going to be a good day today. Honorable, it's good to have you on Governance Insights on DDM Television.
Thank you very much.
All right. Where do we start? I mean, this is your first time of this, you're having an interview with us in our studio. But let us start with, how would you describe, you are a lawmaker. So, and lawmaking is the first step in governance. Without lawmaking, you cannot have any other step, cannot have any other action. So let us start with, how would you describe your experience as a member of the Anambra State House of Assembly so far?
Okay, thank you very much. I remain Honorable Augustine Ike, member representing the Nnewi North constituency in the Anambra State House of Assembly. Well, I can only talk about the 8th Assembly, which I am involved.
Of course.
Okay, because we have assemblies, but this is the 8th Assembly, and I'm part of the 8th Assembly. And the 8th Assembly, as at present, we have passed about 22 bills. As you said earlier, it is the legislative arm that shapes the government. We have passed about 22 bills, and about 20 has been assented to. And out of the 20, our 8 is private member bills. So everything about the 8th Assembly is a new step, it's a new record. And that largely contributes to the output of Mr. Governor. That is why sometimes you now see the governor is able to set new records because the House of Assembly is setting new record. We don't have any bill that you bring to that house that we do not treat under 1 month and we are done with it. Okay? Why? Because the leadership of the house has an understanding. Despite that we have about 4 political parties there. We have the ABGA, which is the majority party. Then in the minority party, we have, there are about 16, we are about 14 at inception. So we still have the Labour Party, the YPP, and PDP in Anambra State House of Assembly.
You belong to the YPP?
Yeah, I belong to YPP. Okay. We have the Labour Party, the YPP, and PDP in that particular order in the Anambra State House of Assembly. But despite that, we don't work as a political party. We work as a theme. The essence is we want to place Anambra first. Okay? 1 state, 1 people, 1 agenda. Okay? We want to get governance right. Then we talk about other things.
Now I want to say, you mentioned that one remarkable thing about the 8th Assembly is the quickness or the alacrity with which bills are made. Yeah. Now, when I was in my secondary school, I was taught that one of the things, features or characteristics of, bicameral legislature is that it is rigid. Although, let me say that at the state level, we have unicameral legislature. So I will understand. But even at that, when if somebody should misinterpret that by saying that the governor wields so much power upon the lawmakers, how would you react to that? The process, the quickness with which bills are made, it seems like it is not, most of these bills are not deliberated upon squarely. Some steps in the process of lawmaking are, sidestepped. How would you react to that?
Well, you know,
Mm.
I didn't tell you I'm a lecturer in the university.
Okay.
I was a lecturer within Nandazikwe University, okay?
Mm.
It will not be correct for you to say that the most intelligent student is the one that writes extra sheets.
Mm.
Huh?
Okay.
The most intelligent student, if you say that the most intelligent student is the one that writes extra sheets, you might be wrong.
Okay.
Sometimes people write extra sheets because they lack the sense of profundity and analytical precision.
Mm.
Okay? You see them now writing volume so that they will try and make points. People that really know the point they want to make, when you give them, they go to the key points. So the same thing goes with legislation
Okay.
and pan-ebiting bills. Once the committee is up and doing, what stops you? The biggest bill was the one that took us 6 months, the bill on environment.
The longest one.
Yes, because it has a big volume.
Okay.
But most of the bill that come to the house is 14 page, 8 page. Okay. Some of them are even 6 pages. You know, then what is someone treating in 10 pages that is taking him long? Sometimes it is when the legislator or when the committee has a lackadaisical attitude towards their duty, that you might not see a bill will pass to the committee, and then the committee will keep it, and then maybe in 2 months they will sit only once on it.
Yeah.
But once the committee is up and doing, they can come to a 10-page bill, take it home for 2 days, come back, everybody will make your input. That is what we do. We take the bills home, sometimes in soft copy. So when you are converging, everybody have studied the bill, and then you are just coming to everybody is making his own observation. No bill. In fact, there is a bill the governor sent to the house, we send it back to him.
How many of them?
There is a particular one we send back to him.
Now, how many?
Totally.
Since the inauguration of this administration, how many bills have you rejected? How many executive bills have you rejected?
I just said we rejected one. The quality of rejection, the number of rejection has anything to do with the quality of the bills.
All right.
We rejected the bill not to score the point of rejection.
Okay.
We rejected the bill because we looked at it. It did not align. Why I mentioned it to you is that so that you will not leave the notion that as if the governor is loading the bills over us. So I just pointed to you that there is one we had reason to reject and we sent it back to him.
All right.
Okay. But the other ones he bring, the bill on environment, we pan-ebited it, we remove a lot of clauses there. Okay. And because we are the ones in Anambra State today, the lawmakers, the 30 of us, we are the ones truly with the grassroots. Because we are the ones that went through a proper election. We are the ones that met the people. We are the ones that feel the pulse of the people. Okay? If anything happens in Nnewi today, and there are 10 phone calls, okay? Just know that 7 will come to me. Then maybe 3 will go to the local government chairman. Because we are the ones representing them, they easily assess us. So we are the ones that know how the people feel. How the people feel is really with the legislator, not the executive. Because the executive is a more forceful arm. They have a lot of enforcement to do. That is why the Constitution now gave us the power of oversight over them. Most of the calls we receive is reporting the executive.
Okay.
That, this executive, they are doing this, they are doing that. Honorable member, are you aware? Then we now come in, even 2-3 days in a we have reason to mediate over an issue. Okay, between the executive and those in the market. We now come in to mediate. Okay, and that is the essence of it. Okay, checks and balances.
All right.
So that's that.
Thank you very much. I love the cooperation despite the multi-party system in the 8th Assembly. But despite this, there must be some challenges. Let's go now to your constituency. Because every lawmaker in the State House of Assembly is representing a group of people. And is meant to speak on behalf of these people, every member in that state. So what would you count as the challenges or the problems in your own constituency that you are speaking on behalf of your people to address? What are those challenges in the Nnewi North?
Well, challenges could be multifaceted. Do you understand?
Okay.
Challenges could be multifaceted. But when you want to talk about it from a general perspective, you can always say that the average Anambrarian across constituency, if you ask him what is your number one demand, he will say road. Number two demand, he will still say road. Governor Biaro, it's always road. Okay? So, and at a point, our people are gradually forgetting that to have a good road is their right. That's what I mean.
I understand.
Nobody should even praise the government on a very good day for doing road. The government ought to be doing roads.
Exactly. That is a responsibility.
Yes.
Primary responsibility.
You cannot do your responsibility, but it's because of how politics, okay, and democracy has fallen. We now have Nigerian politics. We are not supposed to have Nigerian politics. We are supposed to have politics. So
Really?
when you say Nigerian politics, you are wrong. Because there is nothing called Nigerian politics. Politics is polis techne. Polis, city, techne, art of governing a city. The art which American city is governed ought not to be different from the art which a Nigerian city should be governed. That in America that you don't see pothole. You are not also supposed to see pothole in Nigeria. That's the truth about it. But when you now say Nigerian politics, that is where problem comes. You are the one creating that adjective. I was saying Nigerian democracy. There's not supposed to be Nigerian democracy. The concept is a Greek concept. It's not supposed to be Nigerian democracy. Okay, when you now say Nigerian democracy, they will now come to start looking at where people try to establish or institutionalize anomaly. Okay, you see how somebody say, I read one beautiful article a lawyer wrote in Abuja. He said that the problem is not the electorate voting. That sometimes the problem is the people counting the votes. Do you got me? That the electorate, stop blaming them. They must have voted right. That the problem is the people,
the umpires,
the people coming to count the votes. He said that sometimes when the umpire fails to have problem, the problem will become the judge that is in the court. That is why somebody will now be pronounced a winner of the election he didn't participate in Nigeria. You know, people have forgotten that Rotimi Ameti didn't participate in the election and became a governor.
But that is a topic for another day. Let's focus on what.
So that is it. So the problem of Nnewi is just, well, people will always say we need roads in Nnewi. And true, we need roads. The governor has given us road, and each time we sit, I go to any meeting. Now I'm also part of the caucus. Each time I go there, I keep saying we still need roads. Till today, the one in my community, my own local village, has not been done. And that road is very vital. We still need roads. People need road across Nnewi. Nnewi is a town abandoned for long. Okay? Abandoned. And it has got nothing to do with the political party elected as wrongly derived. Because if not, Abga has been there in Chukwudi Orizu. Abga has been there in Amara Nazodo. Abga has been there in Soka for Smart. Okay? Abga has been there before we come. It has a lot to do with, one, the mindset of the executive. Two, the relationship between the lawmaker representing you and the executive arm. And then, of course, the general approach of the people. You know, Buhari is a blunt person. Sometimes he tell you that he's giving appointment according to the voting pattern. Okay? So there's that also, that tendency, that mindset that the executive will always pay attention from the voting pattern. Okay. But one thing must be noted, that when you talk about Anambra State, you talk about Onitsha, you talk about Nnewi, that's Anambra State. Economic hub is Onitsha and Nnewi. Then when you talk about capital cities, you can talk about Onitsha, Nnewi, Awka, and Ekwulobia.
Okay.
But when you talk about economy, it is Onitsha and Nnewi. So governments have no business paying less attention there, because the more attention they pay there, it is for the good of the government that you generate more revenue. When you keep more infrastructures on ground, you get more revenue, and nobody should play with his business center. So the revenue point is Onitsha and Nnewi. So governments have no justification not to invest in Onitsha and Nnewi. That is it.
So from all you have said now, what I get is that road is the only problem. Beyond road, what are other problems? There must be other problems, like electricity. Do you have electricity enough in Nnewi? Then the issue of security, because we are still talking about going to talk about the ease of doing business.
Yeah, when you talk
factors.
about electricity, okay, electricity is not owned by government. Okay, but today it is in concurrent list.
Okay, yes. Okay.
And having been brought to concurrent list, we have made a bill on electricity, which we passed 2 months ago. Okay, 3 months ago. In fact, we completed it before December, but governor just assented to it. Okay, and the bill on electricity, now law on electricity, on regulation and generation of electricity. Okay, what did we do in Anambra State? We open up new vista for electricity. That means people can now come and private sectors can now come and invest in Anambra electricity. Okay, right. So I hope that within the next 1 year, we'll see a lot of investors. And when investors are coming to invest in electricity, I want to believe that the templates, that the trial versions will be in the Nnewi, it will be in Onitsha, it will be in Oka, it will be in Ekulobia. Okay, especially in Nnewi and Onitsha, where we have industrial clusters. Okay, but at present, I think the situation of electricity in Nnewi is not different from any other town. Okay, it has always been the normal unstable power.
Epileptic power supply.
But we hope that private investors are coming in with the new law. And when private investors come in, we are looking forward to reasonable degree of stability, especially if this gas pipeline, if the gas pipeline is the president is talking about, if you run it across Anambra, it gives the private investors more boosts to come in. Because it's not about private investor coming in. It's what is the infrastructure on ground for them to come in. Yeah.
Yes, because electricity is as important as good roads.
Yeah.
When it comes to enhancement of business. If you don't have electricity, constant electricity, how will you be able to promote your business to the next level? That is impossible. So electricity, roads, is there any other problem?
You mentioned
your constituency, security.
You mentioned security.
How is security in Nnewi?
Well, you see, Nnewi is relatively safe because Nnewi is a very big town. Nnewi is, before the eyes of Anambra, a town. Before the eyes of the laws of Anambra, it's a town. But when you come into Nnewi, in the eyes of our native law and custom, Nnewi is made up of 4 autonomous interdependent communities, which is Otolo, Uruago, Umudim, and Nnewishi. And that Otolo, Uruago, Umudim, and Nnewishi is divided into 9,754. That is, in Otolo, we have 9 villages, sub-villages, 9 obis. In Uruago, we have 7. Okay? Right. And then in Umudim, we have 4. In Umudim, we have 5. In Nnewishi, we have 4. Nnewishi, for example, let me use the 4 in Nnewishi. In Nnewishi, you have Okuno Nnewishi. Okay? You have Oriabo. You have Abubo. Okay? And you have Obiofia. And each of these communities still have their own AVGs. Nnewishi has AVG. Each of these communities I mentioned still have their own AVG. I think the problem is not the availability of personnel. The problem is the organization, the pattern. Okay. The leadership. We are experiencing local leadership failure in the Nnewi. We have not been able to put a president that is in charge. Okay? That is why sometimes I can boldly say that you can call the president of Nzukora Nnewi. He will not be able to tell you who is the commander of AVG in a Dodge. He will not be able to tell you how many personnel do we have in a Dodge. Okay? So I think we have enough human resources. What we need is organization. And because the town is big, we have not been able, we are still electing president along sentiment line. Okay, we have not started giving our best to leadership. What we do when a call for leadership calls up is power tussle. And kedu onye ya ewepụta, kedu onye ọ ga-anara. The more likely, the person that is likely to put up a leader may not be able to bring somebody that has capacity to lead. He might be able to bring somebody that has passion to follow him. Okay? And a follower is not a leader. Okay? Because leadership is the act of instructing, directing, channeling both human and material resources towards achieving a particular goal. It is not a mechanic thing. It's not something you bring somebody to start learning apprenticeship over. It is something you have to put your best. That's why at each point, a call for leadership is made. I always advocate let's give it to the best of the best. And allow the person to pilot the affair of the town, not to give it to somebody that whenever he wants to act, he needs to get clearance to know whether this is action is corrode to what one boss or the other needs. That is where failure comes in.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, what specifically, beyond enactment of bills, what specifically are you doing to address these concerns?
Well, another function I have is representation. Okay, I have 3 functions. 1, to make law. An enactment of bills falls under making law. Another function I have is representation. And representation entails, in a layman's language, that the act of making these laws is supposed to be done by everybody. But then I say, you go and speak on behalf of everybody. And it now demands that you have to interact with your constituents. You have to find a way, okay? Either by town hall meetings or whatever pattern you choose. I chose the pattern of every weekend I go to Nnewi.
All right.
Okay? Every weekend I go to Nnewi because I discovered something. 1, that you cannot really represent people from a distance because a lot of them cannot reach you. But when you are available, they know that, okay, he's around.
Yeah.
Some of them walk up to you and they don't need much. Sometimes some of them need you to just make a phone call. Some of them need you to just give them a letter. Some of them need you to just call. Oh, they are holding somebody in police. I have a very dangerous pattern in Nnewi today. Okay? Virtually every week, I have reason to call one DPO or the other 3-4 times because that is the problem of leadership failure. The average Nnewi man runs to the police to go and report his brother. In fact, there is a man last week that locked up his wife. And he married a second wife and gave her empty land. Let her be farming because she has something doing. She started building on the land. She built the first duplex, second one, and the third one, but she has no male child. He now went and removed the fence that barricaded the place and told the woman that he's no longer interested in the marriage, that she should go back to her father's house. That he's taking back his compound. As I'm talking to you today, they are discussing such matter in police. It's just that I was around in a weekend. The woman was able to walk up to me and I put a hold in it. If not, even the woman has ruled that the woman should go back to her husband's house. Moreover, the man is not interested. But that's fraud. That's fraudulent. Just bring somebody's daughter. She has wasted over 30 years in your house. Then she has built. Then you now ask her to go home. So these are things we do in representation. Okay? These are things we do. We have a lot of people, antenatal. See, life is very difficult now. Okay? I have discovered that out of every 10 families that have a woman that is pregnant, about 4 averagely cannot take care of that pregnancy. They cannot take care of their hospital bills. You even have to educate them on the need to now move to our own primary health care centers because most of them don't even know that in Anambra State that the primary health care centers take antenatal and delivery free. Okay? They still go to private hospital they cannot afford. So when I open this phone, you see, milk. Even this one that I'm coming here now, there is no milk. They want to buy milk and give the baby, all those things. Why? because a lot of things are moved up. Okay? And earning remain the same. Let me be practical to you. If you're a civil servant in Anambra State, okay, and you are earning 45,000, okay, when dollar was 200 naira, okay, maybe you're earning about $250. Then if you check it now, I don't know, those that do it with dollars, you see that for you to survive, that person surviving with 45,000 10 years ago, for him to survive now, he needs to be paid like 300,000.
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely. Yeah.
And now he's being paid 70,000. Okay, you have shifted that burden to most of us. That's why you see us now. Once we are paid, he's always intervening in one family or the other. At the end of the day, even your take home did not end up not taking you home as a lawmaker, because a lot of families are hungry, and you cannot just but. Because you cannot look at them and look away. It's not possible. You cannot just but. That is why even in our assembly, we redefine it very well. That what we are doing is constituency empowerment, not projects. What we are giving is constituency empowerment fund. What do? You try to intervene and empower your constituents. It is representation. Okay? And then listen to them. And as I mentioned earlier, oversight is when they are being bullied by the executive, you try to come in. Executive could be police, it could be any other thing. You try to come in and reduce the stress on them. That is it.
Well, thank you very much. I commend your closeness to your constituency, because that is all about leadership. But how would you assess Governor Soludo's administration so far? You are in the YPP, Governor Soludo is in the APOGA, but I know that you said earlier that there has been this, harmony amongst members of all these political parties. So how would you assess generally his administration so far?
Is it as a YPP person, as somebody in government?
No, as somebody who is neutrally, how would you assess his administration across all areas, security, the economy, youth empowerment? You know what I'm talking about?
Well, I am the type that take responsibility. Okay, I believe in the government of Anambra State as a one government, one state, one people, one agenda. So wherever the governor have failed, I used to also see it that I contributed in the failure, either by not making an enabling law to help him succeed there, or not coming to live up to my function of oversight to make sure that that work he is doing, he does it properly. That's what I mean. Okay. To make sure, because the constitution gives me power that when the governor is doing road, that the House Committee on Works should go there and make sure that the road is properly done. So if the road is not properly done, it is partly failure in the part of the executive and failure in the part of the legislative arm for refusing to oversight. But so far, so good. So far, so good. Mr. Governor is doing well. Okay? If you have asphalted over 400 kilometers of road, okay, when you have over 700 under construction and you have asphalted over 400 kilometers of road in 3 years, all right, I think I will give him a pass. Then with other infrastructures, because the only way you assess a government is you assess it in comparison to the past ones. Okay? What were they able to do? I'm not saying that the past ones failed. The past ones didn't fail. Okay? Even the Mbadunuju, the much touted Mbadunuju, people did not even know that Mbadunuju did most of the key infrastructures in Anambra State. Okay? Most of the key infrastructures we have in Anambra State were done by Mbadunuju. Okay? Even Obiano. Okay, Obiano just left. He has an airport. He has a ICC center we still use today. And all those flyovers, blah, 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 blah. Each governor comes and does his best. But the present government that I'm inside, okay, I give him a pass. Okay. He is doing very well. But maybe if you could have given it to any other person, maybe the person would have done better. I don't know. But him, he is doing very well.
Okay. On the scale of 1 to 10, give him a number.
Is it the present government?
Yes.
On the scale of 1 to 10. 1 to 10. Okay. He has an 8.
8. That is, he has an A.
According to me.
Okay, now.
If you bring another lawmaker, he could decide to give his own score, but me, I give him an 8, in all fairness.
All right. Now you are magnifying, or should I say, you are singling out that massive road construction, but that has not come without, some persons, poor people in Anambra, in some parts of Anambra, bearing the brunt. So now this leads me to the issue of demolitions. Some people have frowned and criticized it. Let's have your take on the demolitions. The issue of compensation, the people who have been, ejected from their homes. Are they given another home or what? Let us have your take.
Well, we have what we call right of way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That's what I tell our people. They must understand we have what we call right of way.
Mm.
What is right of way? That you could have a building. Yes, it's your building, but you bet on the road already. Government is not supposed to pay you compensation. Because when you are about to build, you ought to have gone to physical planning to know if this your building is on the road. I'm not giving a moral ground for demolition. Okay? Like what happened in Nnewi. I cannot provide a moral justification for it. So far I'm concerned, the demolition ought to be done, but it ought to be done with human face. And that was why I objected. I fought and make sure that they stop first. Okay? Let the people, our people are not as, our level of education is not as in the Western world. Okay? I faulted the fact that the people along that road, we are not properly communicated. You could have marked the building for demolition. Yes, you marked it. But when the demolition was about to start, because of the community of people you are dealing with, you could have just come that morning. Hey, Biko. In fact, the standard practice should be that when you want to do demolition, you put a red tape. Signal. Demolition is about to happen here in the morning. So that when people come in the morning, you will start removing your things than for you to just come into the street like that, raise your distance and start hitting structures. I think that was what led to what affected the innocent car stand. Okay? And sometimes it's not necessarily that government in the sense that Mr. Governor sent them to go and do that. Now, it is the level of intelligence of the people that are also enforcing. Okay? Most of them are street people. And they just come in. Your man not be made demolition. Or now about also commit theater gates. Okay? And because man also commit theater gates, he become destructive. Okay. If not, a little patience will solve a lot of problems. Hey, these cars, remove these cars. We want to take this place down. Please, we are coming back in the next 1 hour. Okay, remove it, we are coming. Or okay, please, we are coming down. Hey, we remove these cars. But maybe the person do not have that level of intelligence. So he could not manage well. Okay, because when you are dealing with human, it is not SR. It is SOR. It is stimulus organism response. It's not like SR, stimulus response, where you say at each point you bring 2 molecules of hydrogen and a molecule of oxygen, you must get water. But when you are dealing with human beings, it's SOR. Okay, stimulus organism response. It is the mood of the organism that determines the response. It is not safe for you to say that when you slap Honorable Ike here, that Honorable Ike will slap you back. No, it is safe for you to say that when you slap Honorable Ike, the mood of Honorable Ike will determine the response you will get. You may slap me and I will start crying. You may slap me and I decide to go to police. You may slap me. Different people react differently. So sometimes it is the mode of the organism. So if the organism is high, organism that went for demolition is high. He is not seeing everything. He's just doing go to go. That is not the standard.
Okay, you believe that proper consultations were not made before the demolitions were instituted?
It's not proper consultation. Communication.
Communication with the local people.
There is a bridge in the communication gap. Okay? There is a communication gap. Okay? If the communication, as we have done it now, okay? Let's give them 10 days. And if you go and watch that road now, you see a lot of people have lost their things on their own, knowing that demolition is now coming. So when you now come back now, anything you meet and you demolish it, even the person will not like to complain. Okay, at least I have been properly notified. I don't want to put it in the scale of moral rectitude and turpitude of whether this is what is ought to be done. No, but this is what should be done to get a desired result.
Okay.
So they didn't do what should be done. Maybe they have done what ought to be done. Like, okay, I've written you 5 months ago. Then I surface after 5 months and I start working immediately. Sometimes it's not like it's wrong, but that is not how we are the ones representing them. That is not how the mind of those we are representing work. That is how their mind work. That is why I stop them, so that I will now communicate to them how their mind works.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, we are approaching the rainy season, and I believe Nnewi is one of the red areas to look at. For example, last year, I think we had an incident where a mother and a child lost their lives, and 2 other persons because of flooding. So, of course, now that roads are being constructed, it might reduce that impact. But how are you addressing the issue of flooding in your constituency? How are you addressing it?
Well, if you say flooding, flooding is occasioned by poor drainage.
Sorry?
Flooding is caused by poor drainage.
Okay, poor drainage.
Yeah, poor drainage. Anambra generally has poor topography. Okay, this is an erosion-prone area. Okay, and so flooding on most occasions is caused by poor drainage, or absence of drainage, or blockage of drainage. Poor drainage system. That means that this drainage is small to carry the water. Absence of drainage means that there is no drainage at all where it's supposed to exist. Okay. Or blockage. Yes, this drainage can carry this water, but refuse disposal and its corollaries maybe has been used to block it. Okay, now the water now comes up on the road or enters people's house. Okay, sometimes even poor construction. There's one ongoing in Nnewi now where the construction company have to channel water off the road. But I've called them, you have to go and move it till you go and connect it to the next drainage. Because when you channel it off the road, hoping that it's a waterway, it will flow. It does not flow like that. And then it now flows into human community and start causing havoc. Okay, but as I said, most of those incidences are regretted. But when you go and watch most of those roads that have those challenges, most of them are abandoned roads, like the one from Oketitu to Abada in Nnewi, Oketitu to Abada. That road always have dangerous incidents, and it's because the construction was started and abandoned. That's one of the key ones that do have that type of incidents. But as you said, most of the roads where we experience such incidences are now under construction. Okay. So we are looking at minimal damage or none at all by God's grace.
All right. Now let's look at the economy of your constituency, championed by small and medium sized businesses. Now, what are you doing? I am happy that Anambra State is one of the few states that has the highest ease of doing business rating.
Yeah.
Yes. But despite that, when you go down to, some parts of the state, some people still complain about low or lower level of ease of doing businesses in terms of tax. For example, when this government came in 2021, one of the promises that it made was the abolition of all these touts and louts on the road, collecting illegally money from harassing keke drivers. But I know that it still occurs today. It still happens today. That is one. We have talked about roads. We have talked about electricity. We have talked about process of tax collection. So for you, what are you doing to ensure that ease of doing business in your constituency still maintains a good shape?
Well, as you said, touting. In fact, Anambra State law have made a law on touting. Okay? They have made a law anti-tout. We don't have anti-cult. We have anti-tout. Now we now have the SASA, a body that is checkmating tout in Anambra State. But there are certain things that you can only reduce to the minimum decimal. Okay? Yeah, taking them out will take time because who are the touts? The touts are mainly a set of unemployed youths, okay? Or people that do not go through proper education, or people that could not afford proper education. So even this free education that the governor of Anambra State, the government of Anambra State has put in is going to reduce touting because people can now be in school. Because once the person is not in school, he's a tout. Why? Because he has to feed. And that touting becomes a lifestyle. That, okay, you now go out in the morning, you don't have shop anywhere. You get back home with 30,000 naira, 20,000 naira. The person, there's every likelihood the person will not even like to work again. Okay, by harassment. So the government tried as much as possible to now introduce the electronic collection of levy. And the essence of that electronic collection of levy is to reduce touting. In fact, Mr. Governor made it clear that any levy that cannot be collected electronically should wait. Okay? But be that as it may, that human factor I told you, that SOR, okay? Touts are still out there. He see, I say, Akodo, they hit him, they broke his leg. It's still the same people that are doing business, you start complaining. Kediva na Korea Akodo, there and there. But what I'm trying to tell you is that that touting is not something that you can just wipe away like that. If you are in the street, you see that it is not something you can just wipe away. Reason, even because even some revenues body still use them to go and do the electronic collection.
Yeah.
Because they still use them because they cannot go now and employ, they have refused to go and employ graduates to go and do the electronic collection. Okay, it is just a case of 6.5 dozen. You said, okay, we are doing electronic collection. And I have given you the contract to go and collect upload. Then you now have the contract to go and collect upload. You now come to the field. You decided to carry all those touts and then give them uniform to go and collect upload for you. Because, they have acquired that skills too. They are the ones that have the requisite skills. Because this collection of levy also go with little force sometimes for people to comply. We are moving to that level of civility. I hope that we'll get to a point where people can actually just know it is time to pay. You walk into bank and pay.
Okay.
I know even shun the electronic collection that you can now know, okay, this is my state number, okay, for paying of tax. Oh, it's time. Okay, I'm going to pay this. You just transfer from your phone and pay and have your receipt and save everybody the space. But I believe we get there. Okay, it's a process. But I must say, I cannot say that I cannot shy away from the fact that there are no touts in a Nnewi. There are touts. But
all right,
they are being reduced.
All right. You are the chairman, House Committee on Youth Development and Sports. So let me quickly ask you what you are doing to enhance youth empowerment in your constituency.
Well, the chairman, House Committee on Youth Development and Sports is not about my constituency. It's a state thing. When they say you are a chairman of a committee, it simply means you are overseeing a ministry in the whole state.
Okay.
It's not for your constituency. Like me now, I'm overseeing 2 ministries, Youth Development and Sports Commission. Okay? As I'm talking to you now, my contingent just left for a national festival under sports. In youth development, we are driving the 1 Youth 2 scale across Anambra State. Okay? Where we bring out youths, register them. The last registration we did, we had about 9,000 youths. Okay? We registered each of the youth get at least 2 skills. Okay? You train them. After training them, then you now empower them to go and open up business. And I want to tell you that of last year was so successful that even those that were trained, haven't been established, called me and said that we should bring people for them to also train. Okay.
Exceptional.
So that one you two skill thing is really, in fact, is the best thing that has happened to Anambra State at this economic difficult time, because it really engaged most of the youths that will have ordinarily become criminals.
Yeah.
Okay, it engaged most of the youths. Okay, either it has established them or at least it has given them hope of future establishment. And then what do we do? Of course, in my constituency, I try to, the Igbo man says, you know, I try to educate them and tell them the need to join the one youth to scale stuff so that they will be able to be empowered. But aside one youth to scale, aside the one that Anambra State government is doing, okay, I discovered that a lot of businesses need little boosts.
Okay.
A lot of businesses need just a little boost. Example, a content creator just need a good camera. So sometimes I buy these things and give them. I don't want to wait for government of Anambra State to give them. Sometimes I get 2-3 laptops, I share. Sometimes there was a day I made up my mind to go after these petty businesses.
Okay.
Without knowing whom I am, I just stop in front of your Akara shop and give you 100,000 and move. You know what 100,000 does to an Akara woman? It boosts that business so much. It was just for her to fry Akara, you know, and then she needs to buy beans. Buy 2, 3, 4 pentas of beans. A penta of beans is about 9,000 naira now. 12,000, depending the type of beans you are using. Okay? So when you give the person 100,000 naira, that means successfully the person can now buy up to 10 pentas. You have more akara to fry, and then you have more interest. Okay? So we try to do that little targeting, and then we launch. We don't have much. We are lawmakers. We are not like executive that have budgets. If I'm an executive chairman, I can sit down and have a budget and not look at it and say, okay, this. But as a lawmaker, you can just do those little empowerment. Okay? And so that is that about that. But the one you two scale thing is a gold mine in Anambra State. Trust me. I'm the one overseeing it. And I'm very, very serious about it. If you watch, it is going hinge-free. I'm very, very serious. Every minute I'm on the ministry, watching them, seeing what they are doing. Sometimes, even as I'm coming here, somebody just sent me voice notes that they removed his name from one youth to scale. I asked him to send the number of the coordinator that removed his name. And when I leave here, I will call the coordinator, add that person's name back. Nobody is going to be removed. Everybody that has been added must be empowered. These are what things that we can do for them. Thank you.
I'm impressed at your actions, because it is not just enough to make laws, but you must monitor and ensure that these laws are fully enforced. Now, are there developmental project bills currently ongoing in the House?
Developmental project bills. Well, all the bills, I see them as developmental. Okay, there's one now that we are supposed to give second reading on Thursday, and we adjourn it to next sitting. That is the real estate. Okay, the bill on the real estate. We have to get a law to regulate the real estate business. It's becoming crazy in Anambra State.
Okay.
Yeah, it's becoming crazy and it's becoming disruptive in Anambra State. Okay. Everybody is going inside bush to take our land for real estate. And most of these lands are supposed to be for agriculture. When you now take the land that is meant for agriculture and do real estate, you have affected even the price of food in the market. You have even increased poverty, you don't know. And we are preaching green now, backyard. The governor's wife is doing her garden project. You know, that everybody should have a mini garden in his backyard. There is a motion we did on Tuesday telling the ANSIPA to go and revoke all those land past government gave for agriculture. And people are using it are parcellating it and selling it, you are going to collect all of them back. Because you come to government, you tell them that you want to do bed farm that is going to take 500,000 beds. And we give you land to go and do agriculture. Imagine if you have put 500,000 beds, they will not be looking for egg in Anambra State.
Of course.
Then when the government goes out, you will not put even one bed there. You will now go and parcellate the land and be selling it. You are even killing the economy. Okay? Because government have put policies on ground. Okay, telling you a private sector to come and invest, and then you are misleading government. Imagine that we have like 5 farms in Anambra State that have 500,000 beds. Do you know how many people that farm will employ? Okay? It will employ people in the farm. It will also boost the market economy because those selling the egg in the market are also indirectly being employed by the farm. Okay? That is the spiral effect. So, as of developmental bills, we have a lot of bills in the floor of the House.
All right, noted. Now, I've gotten a prompt to round off, but could you briefly tell us about this Nnewi agenda that was, invented some time ago and was meant to propagate the Nnewi governorship candidacy? Tell us about it briefly and the state of affairs of it.
Well, I've stopped commenting on Nnewi agenda because the last one I commented didn't see the light of day. Okay? Nnewi generally, we don't even play politics according to the contemporary realities to start with. If you look at our laws, our very laws, our own constitution, okay, is antithetical to the existing norm, what is obtainable on ground. For example, now we have a local government chairman. The Anambra State House of Assembly said that the local government chairman has a tenure of just 2 years. Okay, that means in Nnewi, every 2 years we'll be having new chairman. It will be rotating around the quarters. Then every 4 years we have another new lawmaker. What it means is that we are not even following, because a legislator is supposed to be a seasoned legislator. For example, if I want to talk in the House and a ranking member wants to talk, I'll wait for him to talk. If I have a project proposal and a ranking member has a project proposal, his own will be given consideration. Because the very other paper have already said it, that preference must be given to ranking members. And then we made a law saying that they don't want ranking members. You understand me? Now, the same thing comes with the Nnewi agenda. What is killing the Nnewi, I'm telling you. The Nnewi agenda could be a private dream or a collective dream. Okay? And the person driving the process himself. It was the person that is driving the Nnewi agenda that killed it. Okay? We started it. Yeah, it was Chris Azuboga and Ifeanyi Oba tickets. And what we achieved was that Nnewi was able to produce a senator and a House of Rep member. If you know what it means, that Senate seat is distributed across 7 local governments. And Nnewi picked it from a minority party, YPP. And then Nnewi also picked the House of Rep that is for 3 local governments. Because we came together. We have the voting strength in Nnewi. Nnewi put about 56,000 votes for Senator Ifeanyi, but can you beat that for Senate? 56,000 votes. And then when you collect all the other votes from the remaining 6 local governments, if you put them together, they may not be able to get to that amount. So what Nnewi agenda does was to bring a pool of Nnewi votes together so that we use it and project our ideology. Now, I said it was a good idea. But when it got to the governorship election, okay, the people that own the Nnewi agenda had other agenda outside the Nnewi agenda. And we are not truthful. They called Nnewi aspirant together and they said, yes, anybody that emerge as a candidate from Nnewi, irrespective of the political party, we will support him.
Okay.
And then they started holding the meeting. Even before the primaries will happen, the same person that owns the Nnewi agenda brought in another person that is not from Nnewi and endorsed him.
Terrible.
Okay, he brought in another person that's not and endorsed him for governorship. I'm not talking about the rightness or wrongness of endorsing him. I'm talking about killing the dream of Nnewi agenda.
Okay.
Okay, and now at the end of the day, Nnewi's son was in the ballot in the governorship election, and then they were campaigning for some other person, and he lost the election. I'm telling you what killed Nnewi agenda. Okay, and that is what used to kill most of Nnewi political drive, because sometimes a lot of people believe that everything should be centered around them. Okay, once that thing is not revolving around them, okay, once that thing is not revolving, they're too egocentric. Once it's not revolving around them, it should be killed. It should not be allowed to see the light of day. Okay, the only thing that is correct or politically correct is the one that they are doing. And any town you see that is designed like that, sometimes it's not progressive. It's not a progressive ideology. There's something I was telling somebody. Okay, today I'm in court. Last month I was in court. Before election I was in court. What is the problem? And Nnewi ran about. Who owns the Nnewi runabout? Anybody that puts, it's not about me. Anybody that has contributed to the Nnewi runabout has the share of the problem. Okay? Even the royal family that came in, immediately they said, no, we got a letter in Oka. Autonomy, Nnewi autonomy. That Nnewi is an autonomous community. Mr. Governor, grant us autonomy, blah, blah, blah. And once they concede that, okay, no, they run about, we can go and take it, then the autonomy is no longer important. Then they stop talking about the autonomy. So we are playing a very dangerous politics in that town that is not progressive. It is divisive. A lot of people are feeding on the division in Nnewi, which will never stop. It used to be, I am for Paul, I am for Apollos. Okay, I am for Mr. A, I am for Mr. B, and then it became a business. It became a lifestyle. Instead of us, now we are doing 1U2 skill. Nnewi used to be a town that once you are finishing secondary school, you are going for apprenticeship. Nnewi used to be a town that once you are finishing primary school, you are going for apprenticeship. And that was how we created Nnewi. That was how we are able to, our 4 years, we are able to now do it, that you import goods because you are controlling the markets. You now import goods. People do not even know that Nnewi do not have seaport. You import goods that you can easily sell in Lagos. You put it in trailer and bring it down to Nnewi and open it in the Nnewi. The people from Lagos will not travel down from Lagos to come and buy that goods in Nnewi and take it back to Lagos. That is the idea of Nnewi. That was what grew that Nnewi. If you go to that Nnewi today, you will not get up to 100 Nnewi importers. There was a time an Nnewi guy was the chairman. I asked him to open a platform for Nnewi people in Nnewi and Machine Pass precisely. It was just about 98 people. Why? Those apprentices that were groomed, when they became boss, they started picking apprentices from other towns. Why? The average Nnewi boy is not thinking like the average Onitsha boy. No insult, man. He does not want to go and become an apprentice. He wants to know one Oga and be going to his house and sit down and be clapping for him. Whatever the Oga does is correct. Then when the Oga is going back, the Oga will give him money. He does not know how to look for money. He now wants to collect free money. And that ideology of creating Otimbu is the problem of Nnewi, not anybody with the man today. They say, I'm having problem. I'm not having any problem with him. The only problem we're having is that people will sit in his house and be eating and be telling him, Ike Doji said this, Ike Doji said that. Those people are saying it as a means of livelihood.
All right. I think I wish we could continue the conversation, but I've gotten what you said. Thank you very much. I appreciate your contribution. But just in one word, what is your vision for your constituency, the youth, the young people there? What is your vision in one sentence?
See, we need to, when I look at Nnewi and look at the future, what I'm seeing now does not give me a good projection. Okay? If I look at what is happening in Nnewi now, and you tell me, where will Nnewi be in 10 years? I will tell you Nnewi will be nowhere. I will even tell you, yes, that even the Nnewi must have been moved out of Nnewi. Because when all the key importers are no longer Nnewi indigenes, they could decide to say that that place is a cluster, that it is too compacted. They will move that market to another place. Mbuko Obosi was not in Obosi before. It was inside Onitsha. When Onitsha people were no longer in the market, those that were in the market moved it to Obosi.
All right, thank you very much.
So what I'm saying in essence is that my vision for Nnewi, we can start building it now. And the only way we can build it is that we need to leave flippant issues and sit down and discuss the politics of development.
Wonderful. Honorable Augustine Ike, Honorable Member representing Nnewi North in the State House of Assembly. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
I'll see you some other time. All right, that's it on Governance Insight. If you love what you've watched, do not hesitate to hit the like button, make your comments, share this video, and subscribe to DDM Television for more exciting topics. I am Tochukwu Raphael. See you next time. Bye-bye.